5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How's life and such, guys?
Fantastic.
It's so fun.
Or is it?
It's interesting. Boring, busy. Can't find a good parking space anywhere. Yep.
Sucker.
Life's
Welcome.
unfortunate like that.
You know what? You know what they say? A sucker is born every minute.
What?
Yes.
Who said that?
Valid question.
Your parents didn't want to tell you, LJ. Same reason my parents don't tell a lot of kids they're adopted until they're a lot older. Yeah.
You're a horrible person.
Yeah.
No, you.
Along with being hideous. You just got the real short end of the stick here, pal.
Let us know. Okay, well, it's been an interesting 2 weeks, because that, I think, has been how long it has been since we recorded a TTV episode. It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get back into the swing of things. We have a couple interesting things to talk about today, so.
Like my birthday.
Hey, what about mine?
Yes, but both of your birthdays have actually taken place since we last recorded an episode, so. Happy birthday to you both.
Me.
We said
No,
so.
to
Our
me.
respective days.
Yes.
Now we gotta
No,
figure out
me.
which. Now we. Oh, wait. I was gonna say we gotta figure out who was born first, but Envy's like 2 years older than me, so.
2 years.
Okay, a year
I'm
older
only
than-
like 369 days older than you.
Wow, stuff.
You know, it's times like these, I wish we had a budget to cut.
Yes.
Yes, to cut you out of this.
Oh, come
Because
on!
I was 2 years older than you.
Anyway.
Stuff. Well, anyway. May as well get this show on the road, so. I'm messing up.
I'm LJ.
I'm Kahi.
And I'm Tenebrain Victus.
And this is TTV episode I'm not even gonna bother. Because I don't know.
42.
42.
42. Okay, 40.
Great.
Let's go. The
episode
answer.
of life.
Yes, yes. Like.
Yeah, that's why I said, oh, great.
The universe and everything.
We're gonna get a bunch of hitchhiker fanboys coming in and clogging up our comments.
Yes. I'm sure.
That's under the assumption we have any fanboys, LJ. Don't be so presumptuous.
I know one. Helped us film the movie.
Yes.
Moving on.
Yeah. Okay, well, in the absence of, like, Var, who's off doing his thing and working on Biocraft, and Vin, who's no longer a part of the podcast, I just realized there's, like, no one here to, like, read the news except for me.
Oh, what about me?
Diddly diddly dee diddly diddly dee.
Well, stuff.
What about me? I used to do it in a time before time.
And that is exactly
Well, that
why
was the
you
time
know.
before time.
Yeah, that was the time before time.
I started a craze. I was a hit with the other cast members. Okay, go on.
Okay, so anyway, I may as well begin. So, on that note, we'll hop right into our first segment, the news. In the news this week, we have Set Review 6221 next. New storyline information on the BSO1 podcast. And Halo 4, Solace, Dominion, and Flood. That very well may be the shortest news we have ever had, ever. But that is literally all.
Seems
Okay.
a bit selective to me.
No,
Yes,
no,
it
no,
is.
no, no,
It's
no.
very select.
If I know how our news goes, it's never small, it's never short. That is a lot of news to cover.
Yes.
Well, if I can, I'd sort of like to comment on something that just recently got released, just today.
Oh, here we go.
I guess. Go ahead.
Legoland Malaysia is
Oh, I
now
knew it!
open.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that since you were here, that's actually relevant.
Congratulations, Kai.
Yeah.
I told you, Kahi, you're gonna go back to your home country, and you're gonna be sitting there, fat, fat and ugly, and you're gonna have your Lego mangosteen, and you're gonna rub it in.
I am definitely going to do all of that if I ever go back. I'm not sure when I'm going back, but, you know.
No.
There's a Legoland in Malaysia. I'm sort of surprised. I guess I'm sort of surprised why they would choose Malaysia of all places to build a Legoland in. I mean, I guess obviously they can't build in Singapore because, you know. Yeah,
No
there's
space.
no way they're building anything in Singapore. But I guess, you know, Malaysia's sort of like, it's not all that clean. There's litter and trash and stuff everywhere. So, I mean, like,
Dog.
Really?
Isn't everyone on boats in Malaysia? Is Legoland Malaysia floating?
no,
Okay, I'm thinking of another.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I guess some of it might be over the water. I haven't actually been there.
Oh,
but-
of course you haven't actually been there, Kahi. It just opened.
Yes.
Come on.
Well, next time, if I do go back, I can guarantee you there will be TTV coverage, Legoland, Malaysia.
No.
Please.
Yep.
Be just the kind of thing
But
we need.
I guess apparently, yeah, it's the biggest one, the only one in like the Southeast Asia position. So I'm pretty sure it's going to grab a lot of attention from people around Singapore and all that area, especially since it's summer all year round. So it's kind of open all year round. There's no winter season where it has to close down because the rides don't work or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. I'd like to visit there someday, but I just wanted to put it there in case anyone hasn't gathered yet. Yes, I am from Malaysia. My parents are born there. We're all straight descendants. I'm only an American because I was born here. I have no American blood, so I'm purely superior. I'm not one of those half breeds with inferior white people.
Well, just well,
Anyhow.
you just had to throw that in there, didn't you?
It's not racist if it's against white people messing that
Yeah, that's, okay, so he's from Malaysia, but he thinks like an American. I see how it is. Anyway. Okay, fine.
I have the best of both worlds.
Don't
So,
start singing.
yep.
What are your thoughts
What
on
else?
next?
What are we moving on to?
Sucks.
Hmm.
Voltrash
Okay,
is better
while we're
sex.
talking about who was he again? Let me see this. Who's
He is
next?
the tech expert. He is the guy that was the saber-toothed tiger during the Savage Planet wave.
Oh, now I remember him.
This stupid
Sad.
Mister. Follow me on Hero Feed and friend me on Twitter Book or whatever. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't care. I don't like
I
that
guess I was
guy.
confusing him with Evo, because
Evil's the one that
Evo's-
knows Kung Fu. And
yeah, I know, and he's the yellow one that knows Kung Fu. I mean, come on, really, Lego? Really, you can't be more. Anyhow,
Power Rangers all over again.
Yes.
exactly. But I guess next is, while he's advertising, Facebook and Twitter alternatives on a kid's.
TV show.
I wonder if Hero Feed actually,
Don't you dare!
documents all of your. Okay. It's just a thought. Okay? Just a thought.
Don't.
What if Hero Factory really is the big brother in their world. Like my comic series has long since betrayed them.
Moving
And by
on.
my comic series, the ICC series, because I haven't done anything with them.
Well, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual
But
set
yes,
it's
yeah.
pretty average to bad.
I don't
Yeah.
really like the coloring.
I don't like the white
think
chest.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the biggest problem I have with it.
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd sort of like to grab the white parts, but there's only two of them, the right armor pieces.
Yes, you can make
'Cause I
Kahi
need-
hero.
Yeah, I need. The world needs a Kahi hero, LJ.
No, it doesn't.
We can't deprive this universe for too long.
Oh, it can.
But still, it's average. There's nothing really special about it. There's something that looks like a tentacle coming out of his arm.
I don't know
Anyhow.
if anyone else sees it, but it kind of the new helmet reminds me of Antros whatever's mask when he was on the jet tracks.
Oh, Messo's favorite.
Hate that mask.
You know what I mean? His favorite.
So anyway. Yep, that's next. Next up,
Yeah.
I guess this is a matter of perspective. The most interesting, arguably the most interesting piece of news we have to discuss today. That is more recent Bionicle story revelations. Now, I said in the last episode, or at least, that we were going to like do a debate corner after the fact that was never released due to various errors. Well, I'm glad we didn't, because now we have this to talk about, and there will be a debate corner following this episode covering this in more detail. But for now, we'll discuss it in short. So, best what it is, I'm gonna let LJ explain.
I just wanted to quickly entail that unless various errors, and I'm not going to name any Kahi here, intervene again.
It was your
Go on.
fault. Your internet went out.
Oh, it's my fault.
It is your fault.
Okay, now that we've pinned the blame on me, let's go back to what we were talking about. So, Meso, back to you.
Oh, LJ, back to you. I'm gonna let you explain the piece of news we have discussed today.
Oh yeah. Okay, since it is Bionicle, this is my job. The piece of Bionicle news we got was actually about the Red Star. You know, that annoying little thing we've seen since 2001 that we really don't know much about. Last we touched up on it, it was in one of the recent story serials. I think it was The Powers That Be. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And Kopaka and Poatu are in that, yada yada, we know. Okay, move on. This time we found out what its secondary purpose is. Because its original purpose was supposed to be to help Matanui, like, go from place to place in space. Its secondary purpose is basically a resuscitation, what's it called?
I think you were right. Yeah, I think.
Revival.
Yeah, a revival tool. To put it very bluntly. All the characters that were dead, think again, Maturo fans, they're alive. Let me quote directly from Greg Varsity here, as not to stumble upon my own two words.
If you want to use
Here's what we
an
found
interesting
out.
phrase, you can.
Here's what we found out. Matanui was supposed to be a self-sustaining system, and obviously, certain individuals played a very important role in maintaining it. In addition, it necessarily had finite resources for producing new beings to replace any lost in accidents, etc. Hence the Red Star. A being who died inside Matanui would be teleported to the Red Star, where their essence would be transplanted into another body, and they would be sent back. Unfortunately, as with so many related to Matanui's construction, so many things related to Matanui's construction, it didn't work very well. The teleporting to worked, but the teleporting from didn't. So a lot of newly revived dead folk were stuck in the satellite with no way to get back home.
Yes.
You heard it here, folks. The Red Star is a zombie maker.
No.
No, not
Seeing
really.
as they're transferred into new bodies, I'm pretty sure that doesn't make them zombies.
Yeah.
But Mage, it totally does. That's like the
So-
definition of zombie.
Wait a second.
No,
Was it ever...
isn't.
Wait. You see, here's the thing. Was it ever confirmed if they were new versions of their old bodies before they died, or completely new bodies entirely?
Not at
That
No
all.
one
was
knows.
never
They're
stated.
speculating it.
There
Yeah,
you go.
it's just speculation. But even still, though, it doesn't make them zombies. They're created for the explicit purpose of, replacing their former selves after they died. So they're
Clone Wars?
basically completely normal Torn. They're
Ah.
not zombies in any way. They don't want to eat anybody's brains. They don't want to kill anybody,
Well,
etc.
Kahi, I'm sure some of them did. So anyway, yeah. So what does this bring to light?
Well, Krika's alive. That's all I care about.
What?
I'm not even joking. That's all I care about.
Krika.
Krika.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Krika.
Doesn't matter.
Here's the thing, Misso. No one cares about Krika anymore. Bring back Matoro. He was the greatest hero of them all.
No, don't bring back Matoro because he isn't the greatest hero of them all. If you do,
Yes, and this is where the debate arises. Some people do not like this revelation, and some people, like myself, either like it or don't mind. I'm of the opinion that I don't mind. I think it's fine, as long as they don't reappear in the story again besides Krika.
All my thoughts are, just imagine if Batman was in Bionicle. What?
I'd rather not.
His parents wouldn't be dead.
And there
Okay,
goes everything.
But anyway,
it's
so yeah, this has actually stirred up a lot of debate in the
Yes.
Bionicle
Mhm.
community
definitely.
and
Yes.
TV,
Yes.
which is a community of it in and of its own.
Very true. We're the smallest but coolest community there is.
Yep.
Yes.
Pretty much. I mean,
Kahi, what are your thoughts in short?
My thoughts, in summary, this thing completely cheapens all the deaths that have ever happened in Bionicle, and is a cheap and easy, and basically lazy way for Greg to bring back any character he wants, and it has made Bionicle less complicated and mature than it used to. That's
Maybe
my
not, since we haven't really heard from any of these guys that got stuck there.
that's my whole thing. The only one we have heard about is have heard from is Mavra.
okay. Well, let's. I guess from the way I look at it, this whole thing with the Red Star, teleporting dead people there. In fact, it's not so much that no one knows who's actually there. It's the thing that Greg made it happen in the first place, and he made it possible for anybody to come back. That notion alone kind of destroys everything we can. I mean, just say he says, okay, Matoro actually did die and he's not there. Well, that's great, but he can also use that to bring anybody else back too. Anybody who died before, he can just bring them all back. He has that opening to bring them all back, and he also has the opening to say, oh, this person who you thought died, in this big dramatic way, or it really shocked you or whatever. Yeah, he didn't actually die. He just got put into a new body, or just restructured a little bit. Yeah, I'll get into more detail about that later.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically
But
that.
that's the gist
Make
of it.
up your own decisions, audience, if you want to be more informed. Check out the following video after this for a bunch of fun.
And or the description for a link to the topic, maybe?
That too.
Okay.
But yes. Just gonna wait 1 second for Mean to get back and call.
Or Envy.
Oh,
Envy dropped again. Down. Anyway. By the way, very quickly, you know that parody that Var did?
Yes.
I heard the actual song on the radio today.
which one, boyfriend?
Mm-mm.
Alive. Thank you, Red Star.
Mm-mm. Yeah, the second one.
Batman.
Kahi.
Yeah, the second one.
Speaking of Batman, why should I fight for justice when my parents are actually alive?
Okay. So anyway, now we'll move on to our final bit of news for the day, and this is, as usual, we like to end whenever we do this with some Halo 4 news. And this week we have three. Well, it's been 2 weeks since we did an episode. There's a lot of news, but rather than talk about everything, I'm just gonna link stuff in the description. Some of it's not really substantial at all. There are 3 main things which actually only got revealed today, the day of this recording, which is the 21st of September. And these are a new map called Solace, a new game type called Dominion, and lastly, another new game type called Flood. Okay.
AKA revised infection.
Yes, the new infection.
Oh no,
So,
a new infection.
I'm gonna link 2 galleries, and they're full of pictures from Dominion, the game type, and then also from some more games on the new map and whatnot. The new map Solace is a small-ish, medium-sized, symmetrical map with Forerunner design, and there's overgrown areas with grass and greenery and whatnot. And the key point of the map is it's perfectly symmetrical, and they actually designed that with a point in mind. You know, people enjoy playing on symmetrical maps in the competitive community. It works better for objective game types if that's the case, etc., etc. And it's pretty interesting because I think that's the only symmetrical map we have thus far, except maybe Haven. Wait, no, not Haven.
Somehow.
Yes, yeah. And we got footage of normal Infinity Slayer, and then we got CTF footage on Solace. That can all be found in the description if you look hard enough. So it's a pretty interesting map from what it appears. There's some pictures in the gallery I linked. So yeah,
These look pretty sweet.
very
High
true.
resolution, man.
Yeah, it's well, what are your thoughts on Solace, Soldier?
Solace, at first glance, I was not very impressed. I was actually kind of demotivated me if that was how 343 was going to do the maps. Just run down Forerunner technology, enhanced bases. That was going to get old real quick. But seeing it and keeping in mind that it's 1 out of 2 that we know of so far that are Forerunner,
Yeah.
I wasn't so downtrodden about it. And after seeing some gameplay with my favorite sword, it seemed actually pretty fun, and I'm actually really excited to see how it plays out when the game actually does come out.
Yes.
My only complaint is that it has a huge similarity to Exile, which also got recently revealed as of PAX.
But LJ, no, it doesn't. It doesn't even look the same.
It has the Forerunner tech, and then it has Jungle.
But LJ,
No.
Exile
But
LJ.
Exile didn't have Forerunner tech. It was a UNSC map.
Yeah, LJ.
Okay, the metal components is what got me then.
Okay.
But LJ. Okay, I'm done.
Yes, but LJ.
Quiet.
Yes.
But LJ.
Oh my god.
Good grief, guys. Is this what you're doing while I was gone? I come back and it's all just, but LJ, but LJ,
But
but
Kai.
LJ, but LJ.
But it's Kai posted the 2 galleries. It's well, we were just talking about the new map, which you can find a couple pictures of in the War Games gallery.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this map when you actually see a couple pictures of it? It's small, it's perfectly symmetrical, it's designed for CTF and Infinity Slayer play. What are your thoughts on the graphical
Let me see.
approach?
War game screens. The graphical approach is, well, I sort of like where they're going with this. I just, they didn't really have a lot of these maps in Reach, which is, you know, the only maps I've really played on a multiplayer. everything in Reach was so kind of sleek, kind of futuristic. There's nothing sort of run down and made by people who looked like they didn't have anything else to do to go.
Yeah,
Wow.
the Great Beans. I mean,
Wild stuff.
Not really, but yeah, I guess I like how the scrap metal approach to this. There's a large amount of forest, but unlike the Forge world in Halo Reach, it's not just scenery and then there's this giant piece of metal in there somewhere. Everything looks like it was built for a purpose and just time had worn it down. They built it out of scraps and stuff. So I like the approach to it. It's something that, well, I'm not sure if it was in like Halo 2 or Halo 3 or anything, but personally I haven't really seen it.
I'd be
So I enjoy
lying
it.
if I said I recalled. There were maybe a couple maps in Halo 3 that had that look. And then I never really played Halo 2 actively.
Yeah.
I should one of
I
these days.
have. I played it with Vin a bunch.
Yes.
be quiet.
Yeah. Alright, well, next up, I'm glad you got back when you did, because now we get to talk about the really interesting thing, the new game type called Dominion. Basically what this game type is, I'm going to put it like this. There are 3 bases on a map. This is a big team battle game type, so, a lot of people, a lot of vehicles. 3 bases. And they're labeled A, B, and C.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie.
Yes. And basically what your team has to do, you have to go, 1, secure the bases. You walk into the bases and then you hold down X in front of some hologram, wait a couple seconds, and you'll be able to secure it. Then the bases become fortified the longer you hold them. And there's a countdown timer going oh, the base is being fortified, fortifying base. And defenses will automatically construct themselves along the base. For example, automated turrets. Walls will basically be built that can be broken through with melee, but they're designed to protect the bases to an extent. Yeah, the whole concept of the base changes, and then the longer you hold the base, occasionally there will be base resupplying, where weapons will drop, and vehicles, you can actually choose whether or not to spawn vehicles. It's all optional, but if you want to, vehicles become available, and you can use those to help you defend the bases, and then also take control of other bases on the map. That's basically the gist of it. And then the final thing is, when all 3 bases are captured by one team, the game goes into last stand mode, where basically the other team that is not in control of the bases, they all get overshields. And that is because they get one final push. They can use these overshields to combat all your power weapons and vehicles and try and take, I'm not sure if it's just one of the bases or all 3. I'd assume just one to prevent victory. And if they can do that, the game may shift back in their favor, and I think they're back in the game. If they cannot do that, if they all get eliminated,
Game over.
yeah, game over, basically. And to
Wow.
win, you actually have to kill all the enemy team, and they can't respawn. So it's elimination.
Yeah.
That
Interesting.
is very interesting. I'm honestly looking really forward to that.
That's skyrocketed to near the top of the list of things I'm excited for, because something actually new and fun to play. It's objective based.
Yeah.
Is nice.
What this reminds me of, this is 3 plots, and then the defense, the firefight sort of part from the package when you're underground, sort of stepped up to a lot more, because the package had those turrets that you had to keep putting up.
Yeah.
And so this seems like it's 3 plots, but with those turrets and even more.
Very true.
In the defense.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then there also, this so far is the only game type announced where they're going to actually be featuring kill cams to show
Wow.
you how you died. They're going to be in several certain game modes. They're not universal because, that's a decision. Some people don't really like having them universal, so they're only in, a couple modes. But it's helpful in this one because, it gives you more situational awareness and lets you know, if you died trying to, protect the base, it's oh, so I can actually see how I died and whatnot.
Yeah.
And trust me, people need more situational awareness. We were watching some videos of gameplay of this game type. Oh my Matanui, the people, they wouldn't watch their radar. If you
Yeah.
had, if there was an enemy in their face, and you had told them, hey look, there's a guy right there, you better kill him, they would have been oblivious.
Yep. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, this is the game type they were talking about a while back. That this is like the replacement for invasion. Is basically what they're going for with this. Because people liked invasion, but it didn't really work. It wouldn't work in this game because you can't play as elites. So people were like, "Are you gonna let us play as Prometheans?"
No, you're not gonna play anything other than a Spartan.
Yes.
We're going back to the olden age of Halo 1 and 2. Oh wait, no,
And
Halo 1.
2.
No,
No, 2.
No.
Oh wait, no, 2 did, huh?
Yeah,
But it's not as fancy customization as it was in 3 and Reach.
Yeah, so just Halo 1.
Halo Juan. Well, really, in ODST you couldn't.
Be quiet.
Wow, stuff. But yeah, I'm like really looking forward to that game type. I think it's gonna be really fun. Especially like, you know, the more people you have that are like in a party, the more communication you can have to like say, all right, we have these resources, we need to like split up into teams, and obviously we have to hold the bases we have, but then also a couple of you can go this certain way and try and take the bases, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Going
You know,
entertain.
I was just thinking, after TTV, we can. I'm sorry. After Biocraft is released, we can just have some fun game nights with our loving fans and
That'd be fun.
listeners, so I can crush
And
them.
Winter Solstice.
Yes, so I can crush them under my heel.
That'd be pretty fun having like, you know, game sessions with fans. It's an interesting idea.
They will suffer.
Build our community with loyal fans.
Yes.
They will suffer.
Anyway, the final bit of news is about the game's new infection game type. And it's called Flood. And it has that name for a reason. Flood from, you know, Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3 actually kind of appear in this mode. Because now, rather than when you're infected, you just have like a sword and you have normal characteristics, you actually get infected and you basically turn into a Flood combat form.
Huh.
Like infected Spartans. And
Well then.
you walk around, then you can use your claws to like have deadly melee attacks. Your field of view is expanded, so you have better situational awareness, and you have a better grasp on the surroundings, so you can plan like attacks and whatnot. And I assume you have like other base traits, probably faster speeds, etc., that have not been revealed yet. Because, you know, that's the thing we know the least about, because it was like leaked in some obscure French magazine. But we know it's legit, but we have no other info.
Also, no leaked pictures in BZ Power. We now can't release this here.
Wild stuff.
If
So
only
anyway.
we were going to release it on his
Which reminds me, if I may, we got a comment very recently, someone asking for our BZ Power names, and if we win on BZ Power. Well, yeah, we go on BZ Power, and if you want our names, you can find us on BZ Power with the various topics we've linked in the description.
Yes.
If that hasn't been a thought already.
Or you could, you know, actually listen to the intro and get our names, which are also conveniently our usernames. That could also work, LJ.
Like
putting that out
Messadak and then LJ. Don't make...
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
Kahi.
things like that. You know, little obvious things that we put in here just for you guys.
Yes, because we're so nice to like say who we are.
Yeah, no, we're just obscure TTV member number 1, obscure TTV member number 2, and then
I'm
Kahi.
Messinek.
I'm admin number 2. Oh, okay.
Wow, Kahi, I did not want to hear that.
Wild stuff. But yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna like reserve my opinions on the infection changes, because I actually like infection the way it is. But that certainly sounds like an interesting take on things. But I kind of need to see, footage and hear more info before I'm like, oh, one way or another, this is cool or whatnot.
It'd be terrible.
So do you change from like a Spartan to a flood?
No, Messer didn't say that. Like he said.
It's like, yeah, 2 people start out as flood infected forms, and then there are like 10 survivors, and yeah, like you get infected, yeah, you do turn.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. And then one other thing which was revealed in that magazine, a new vehicle, the mech that we've seen in trailers, is called the Mantis. And we only saw it. We only saw a picture of it being used in campaign. We don't know if it's even going to be in multiplayer. The logic would dictate it would be. And yeah, it appears to be pretty interesting. I'm still not sure how I feel about a mech being in a multiplayer in place of a more traditional vehicle, but whatever. Yeah.
Oh, Revenant. Bye-bye.
Well, don't do this. We don't know yet, LG.
Oh.
The Falcons.
Yeah, well,
in
we
there.
don't know, but I'm pretty confident.
But LG, the Falcons in there.
Why is the Falcon of all vehicles in there? It's so continuity breaking.
Yeah, it's like they're all about like making stuff like all the lore and whatnot. But the concussion rifle and the Falcon are the 2 things which you're like, no, just no. They don't need to be there. Brute shot and Hornet. Okay, thanks.
Okay, maybe not the Hornet.
Yeah, maybe not the Hornet, but the brute shot. But okay, thanks.
Bring the Pelican into multiplayer.
Yeah, so we can save Meso from a nuke going. Okay, inside joke. Inside joke.
Yes.
More like inside argument. Anyway.
Yes.
Another story for never.
Yeah, that basically wraps up on our news in case anybody else has anything to add before we transition.
Energy sword rules. You all suck, except for Mesa.
Okay. But how am I sucky at it?
Oh, Envy. I got jokes. Anyway.
You got jokes.
Jokes and kissing up to Mesa. No,
Okay, fine. Envy. Okay, besides Mesa and Envy. So that just means Kahi. Sucker.
Oh, yes. Just because I don't resort to a noob tactic.
Oh, you don't bring it on.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Yes. So, I guess next up we'll transition into everyone's favorite segment, the Comic Maker Spotlight.
Oh, fudge.
You don't have a comic maker picked out, do you?
What? Why would you say that? Of course I do. Meso,
no,
I am a very professional and fully
Stop
prepared.
stalling!
Prepared to do nothing, it seems.
So! Okay, here, let me give you some space for the music.
Okay. Let's go into the Comic Maker Spotlight.
Welcome to the 100% Prepared Comic Maker Spotlight. Today we are going to be looking over a comic series that is actually fairly recent. Little to anyone's knowledge, our former host Venom actually had a younger brother. This younger brother is named Acer, and he started a comic series as recently as September 13th. Uh-oh, Makuta Vaz, it's unlucky for you. Anyway, so we're going to look over That Retro Comic by Squiggly Line, Acer Squiggly Line.
Wow, so.
Wow.
I need to learn the names of the squiggly lines.
We already told you it's a tilde.
A tilde.
That sounds so stupid.
Yes, tilde is so much more stupid than squiggly line. That sounds
Squiggly line has a... It rolls off the tongue.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional. Squiggly line.
So anyway, let's look into the series. let's look at graphics first. As far as graphics goes, these do not disappoint. They're actually very appealing to the eyes. My only complaint about the graphics of the comic studio here, because this seems to be a comic studio based comic series, is that it has too many shades of beige. Get some bright, happy colors and
Beige.
you assess your life. Moving on, we can see that the author uses classic two-shade razor, which I applaud him for. That is always welcome. Two-shade, anything is welcome in my book, no matter what Kahi tries to say. The blend between two-shade razor and the multicolor shades around them is actually very well done. There isn't really a sharp contrast between the two, and it melds very easily. Moving on, by the way, just keep in mind at the time of this recording, the author only has 2 comics out. So, in comic 1, basically a BZ Power staff member, Windrider, invites Acer into his new studio. In comic 2, he looks around the studio to find an empty refrigerator and a bed without pillows. Cruelty amongst men, I tell you. So anyway, let's look at a comedy, which reminds me. So Windrider invites Acer into the home studio thingy, and leaves him with the parting words of "Hope you don't believe in ghosts." Oh boy. Oh dear. That can't be good. And the comic ends with Acer being very annoyed. The second comic is actually a little bit more humor-based, as the first one was an introduction. As he looks around his studio, disappointed at the lack of food and or pillows, we see that he also transitions to differently colored backgrounds. Instead of beige, we have bright silver, which is actually fitting for a kitchen, but there's just a refrigerator sitting in the middle of the room.
That's not a kitchen. That's a refrigerator. There's a large difference.
It could no. He says, "Aw, sweet, a kitchen with a fridge." See, it was a kitchen.
Where's the rest?
But,
Where's the rest
yeah.
of the kitchen?
Yeah, what's the rest of the kitchen?
It's like on the other side of the camera.
Well, just
The side that we never see because, we're facing the wrong way. Anyhow.
But regardless, my thoughts, graphics are actually very simple, but very appealing. And the humor is also simple, but definitely can get a chuckle. What are your thoughts, Kahi, Envy, Mesa?
Alright. I guess I'll go first because,
Yes.
co-host privileges. I like the series. It doesn't do anything wrong, per se. There's a couple things that could use a bit of stylistic improvement, but, this is my stylistic improvement, so it probably isn't Acer's. But, it might be something to keep in mind. I like the background, how there's the gradient, but I guess for me, it doesn't complement Two Shade Raiders well enough. It fits well enough. It melds pretty nicely. There's not like a giant contrast between the two, but I think that you need more black inside this. And when by black, I mean like you need a few more outlines. If the sprites you have are outlined, generally outlines on the background should follow to make it seem more
In tune with the
unified
character and background.
Yeah. Like for me, I don't hate Two Shade Tomorrow or Two Shade Razor, but once you start doing things of that, you need to try and unite the two styles together. So I would suggest maybe with the windows, maybe making a black 1 pixel outline around that, or in the inside, just sort of like outlining everything in sort of black. Try to make it look, I guess, cell shaded in a way. Have you ever seen those games where it's supposed to look like everything's sort of drawn like a cartoon?
Like
that's sort of the effect the sprite does.
Like the very recent Walking Dead game.
Yes, or even more recently.
The Borderlands 2.
Yes, exactly. I was just gonna say that.
I feel so in tune with my pop culture references.
No, even if you don't do that, another thing I would say is try to multi-shade the furniture you have. The fridge, the windows, the bed. when you have a when you have a one sort of like one shade furniture on top of multi-shade backgrounds, it looks kind of out of place. You can see, especially with, I think for me it's most obvious with the panel of the bed. The bed sort of looks too flat to be on that, the sort of gradient applied ground. But other than that, it's very nicely done. The text is really easy to read, so I commend you for that. That's a lot of first comic makers don't get that. I wouldn't, I guess for the sake of how things go nowadays, I wouldn't use lines connecting the text to the person. Honestly, I suggest if you don't want to go with like a text glow or reach bubble, it's perfectly fine. Do a different colored text, not like eye-searing text, but text dark enough to contrast or something. The line thing gets kind of distracting. Not so much in this series, but it could get in the way later on.
Later on, I can see, but honestly,
so far it hasn't. But it's a stylistic approach that you might want to think about, as you're making comics.
Yeah, I think as the series progresses, maybe.
Yeah.
But right now, I kind of enjoy that. It's kind of classic in a way as far as BZ Power comics go. Since you don't see that very often.
It is just called that retro series. So if you're just purposely going for that style, then
by the
go
way,
ahead.
I just want to commend the author on that excellent That 70s Show reference, if that's intended. But knowing Venom, it is.
Ben.
I swear, I'm gonna. Oh boy, yeah.
I guess it matters what Acer what you want to really do with this comic. Of course, from the looks of it, you want to do like that, like a retro series. So I guess you might even end up ditching the gradient backgrounds if you want to go for that. This is retro 2005 era comics look, or I don't know. It really depends what kind of style you want to bring to this series. But once you do decide what you really want to do, you want to do cel shaded, you want to do retro, you want to do a bit more modern, stick with that and go with it. Go as far as you can with that. As far as humor, you're doing humor pretty well. It's not like overtly hilarious, but it's it gets a sort of a humorous vibe, I guess, coming out from it. It's less of a direct form of humor and more of like a reaction or situation based thing. Like the joke always comes at the end of the very last panel after it's been set up. It's a very good system. I just this sort of thing. Once you have this thing down, you're not doing the slapstick comedy jokes. You're not doing all these weird, noobish kind of quality things. Anything else just comes with practice. So just keep making comics, and you'll get where you need to go. Other than that, that's all I have for today.
All right, Meso, Envy.
Well, I guess since you put me next in line earlier, I'm gonna say that this is like a giant emulation of Venom, because while the series is pretty good, I find the humor decent. The smooth gradients remind me a lot of Venom's regular graphics, like whenever he's doing an inside thing in his comics, and the title of that retro comic, the placement reminds me a lot of the Outliner. So the humor is very subtle. I like it. It's the kind of humor that, while it doesn't make you laugh like right off the bat or that much, it's humor that will keep you attracted to reading it. And I like that he's using Razor. It's nice to see that again. It's been a very long time. And finally, back to the graphics. If he really wanted it to be retro, he'd probably have to abandon those smooth gradients, because back what I've seen as retro did not use smooth gradients at all.
I don't know. I think this is kind of a tip of the hat to the editorialist series as far as smooth gradients go.
But the editorialist didn't use.
Be quiet!
Razor, LJ. That's not retro.
Now then, Meso?
My opinions are, this series is pretty cool, yo.
So anyway, that concludes the Comic Book Spotlight. We'll put a link in the description for the series. I definitely advise you check it out and drive the author nuts with saying make more comics because he needs to make more comics because if he's anything like Venom, there's gonna be a delay. But yeah, so definitely go check it out. Link in the description. That retro comic by Acer, and that's Comic Maker Spotlight.
Woohoo!
That was great. And long and great.
And long and
And long and great.
Cheese.
Long and great. And great cheese. Wow.
Yes. Cheese graters.
Cheese.
Mhm.
I mean, anyway, let's get a
Graters.
serious face on.
Yum.
Okay, well, this is a pretty good episode of TTV. We had some nice topical discussion, and more shall follow. So, yes. I want to thank you all for listening. As always, be sure to leave any comments about, like, the great being. Yeah, well, the great being. Well, that too, I guess. The great being,
Great
Bionicle
Being,
News,
Murderer.
Red Star, Bionicle News, Halo 4. Anything you want.
News.
Comments are appreciated. Our
News.
podcast, the news,
News.
quality of our podcast, the news.
Yeah,
News.
don't feel afraid to give us
News.
constructive criticism, harsh as you may be.
Don't be afraid to give us
News.
news.
Yeah, don't be afraid to
News.
compliment us. But if I reply, be prepared for sarcasm.
Be
Yes.
prepared for news.
Yeah, so thank you for listening. I'm messing up.
I'm LJ.
I'm Kahi.
And I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
And this was TTV, episode 42.
And-
Be
And
sure
a
to like,
speed record
sure-
for announcing names.
yes.
No,
Be sure to
no,
like, comment,
no,
rate,
no,
subscribe.
and no.
Comment, rate, subscribe, news.
And before no. Yes, goodbye. Guys.